to the first episode of Rise and Slay, where we invite inspiring women with different background to share their stories and what made them into who they are today. Today, I'm going to introduce someone who is close to my heart. She just recently won Miss Philippines Tourism 2024. And she's going to share her stories on how she was able to turn her disability to power by conquering the pageant stage and winning the title. Let us all welcome Bianca Tapia. Hi Bianca, how are you?
I'm doing great today. Thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm good, and actually, I'm really thankful that you gave us opportunity to interview you, to share your story. So, you just came fresh from the pageant, right?
Yes.
So, congratulations on winning Miss Philippines Tourism 2004.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, how was it like? Actually, I'm really so curious. So, was it always like a dream of yours when you were young to join pageants? Did you expect yourself to join a pageant?
Actually, no. I had a lot of different dreams when I was a child. I wanted to be a Disney princess at one point, probably become a teacher, psychologist, and then at one point, I just decided to sign up for Miss Philippines USA. And that's when things kind of turned around, because I noticed that every time I joined a pageant, it developed me into a woman that I wanted to become. And that's, becoming a stronger woman, more empowered to change the world, and just developing skills that are totally irreplaceable.
All right. So, well, we're really so curious. So, how was your life like before joining pageantry?
Well, after joining my first pageant, I thought that was it. So I focused more on my career. I grew up in the States, and I also went to university in the States. So I wanted to pursue corporate life. And before coming to the Philippines, I was working in the tech industry, totally opposite spectrum of pageantry. So my life was very much different in the sense that I was focused on laptops and just being behind the computer and dealing with many different business people.
Right after, when you decide to join pageantry, so did you have to leave your corporate job for this, just to pursue pageantry? Or what gave you the strength, to leave this behind? Because did you mention earlier that you were from the US, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, what gave you the strength to, pursue pageantry when you already have a good paying job in the US? You're already stable. So that was a huge leap for you. So,
most definitely. I think I was in a point in my life where something was missing. And I really did have a good paying job, and I didn't deny that a lot of people would have probably wanted to have the career I wanted, but it just wasn't meant for me. And the moment that I was asked to pursue Miss Universe Philippines, I didn't even have to think about it twice. I knew that that was my calling, and I knew that that was a platform I could step into to give back to the nonprofit world.
Oh, okay. So, if you mind me asking, I would like you to share to everyone who's watching here today, what's your advocacy when you joined the pageant?
When I joined the pageant, my advocacy was inclusive education. So I was born with a hearing deficiency, and it's really my duty to give back to those with disabilities, because I feel that we are much stronger than people view us as, and I think we are super capable of achieving anything that we put our minds into.
That's great. That's so inspiring. But you mentioned that your advocacy was more on the hearing disability, right? So can you tell us more, share with us your hearing impairment and how it did it give you a hard time when you were joining pageantry? What obstacles did you face during the time that you were competing? Kasi during the pageant, diba, there are times that you will be asked a question and answer. So,
Yeah.
did it give you a hard time? How did you adjust during the pageant world?
I mean, I've joined 4 pageants total now, and something that my parents were always so scared of was that I wouldn't be able to hear the questions, like what you asked me. But it was something that I've accepted. I learned that it's okay to ask people to repeat yourself, and it's okay to admit that you're hearing impaired, because what can I really do about it? It's something that's a part of me. But there were circumstances like when we would have rehearsals,
Yeah.
or just talking to my friends, and I would have to ask them to repeat themselves, or I couldn't hear what the instructor was saying because
Yeah.
I didn't know where to go. So I was oftentimes what they call lutang.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't hear. But you know, when there were times I'd feel uncomfortable, I would just remind myself, it's okay, like, this is who I am, and I shouldn't be afraid to show people that I can't hear, and everyone's imperfect, and it's okay to ask again. So yun.
Wow, that's a really inspiring story that you shared with us. Okay, so Bianca, you've come a long way from competing in Miss Universe Philippines to Miss World Philippines very quick, consecutively in the same year. Can you share us what inspired or motivated you to join consecutively in the same year?
I mean, you asking me that question makes me feel like I'm kind of crazy too for doing that.
You know why? Because a lot of people, they were like, oh my God, ang dami mong energy. It's
Ako
so
daw
tiring.
yung babaeng walang pahinga.
Oo, walang pahinga.
And I agree. I mean, since February, I've been getting no sleep, probably 5 hours a day. And it's been tiring doing that for, 6 months in a row. But I think what really inspired me to switch from Miss Universe to Miss World in a span of less than a week was just realizing that the more that you do yourself, the more that you can do for other people.
Wow, I love it.
And stepping into the Miss World industry, I really realized that I was able to touch a lot more people who have disabilities. People flooding my inbox saying, thank you for standing up for us. And that to me alone means so much to me, because I know that I made the tiniest difference that will help them go a long way.
Yeah, that's really good. And actually, it's very admirable that, yun nga, ikaw yung babaeng walang pahinga, diba?
Yeah.
So, in a way, you've became an epitome of someone who hustles until you get what you want. And you really prove to the world and everyone around us that you won't stop until you achieve your goals.
Yes.
And now you're here. You're a pageant holder, right? So, it's, what's really admirable about you, since you mentioned that you started pageantry, what year was that again?
2020.
That was during the pandemic,
Correct.
right? So imagine doing pageants during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then in a matter of years now, you're a pageant holder. Oh my God, you've come a long way. And, there are some women who joined several times, like several attempts in joining pageantry, but you were able to kickstart your pageantry by, getting one of the biggest title here in the Philippines, which is very admirable. During the time that you were competing, right? I'm curious, you were a very shy woman, right? So how does it feel to go on stage and then you model in swimsuit, because you're a very shy. So what was your mindset when you were going on the stage and working your way in the stage, just slaying in the stage? So what was your mindset like before you start answering questions, performing on stage? What was in your head?
I think a lot of people think I'm not the type to execute and be, this big shining star on stage. Because as a person, I'm quite reserved. I'm very to myself, but once you get to know me, I become this extroverted person. But anyway, I think going into performance mode, that's something I kind of gatekeep. I don't like to be in people's faces about what my intentions are. So as I go on stage, I kind of build up everything that I've trained for, worked hard for. And I know at the end of the day, it's all about mentality and what you think of yourself. So as I go onto that stage, I just think to myself that I'm this boss woman that can conquer the world. And once I think that, everything kind of goes away. And I say a little prayer too, which always helps.
Right. I agree with you. So, what would be your advice to women, younger women, who would want to follow your footsteps? Like, especially, there are a lot of women who also want to pursue their dreams, not just pageantry, right? But their disabilities are like holding them back. So what advice can you give to our viewers in pursuing their dreams?
Yeah. I would just remind them that I know it's so easy to fall into a trap and think about your weaknesses. And oftentimes we label ourselves as what people view us as. But when we step above that and think about how much more we can do, how much we can contribute back into this world, it gives us strength. Undiscovered strength that we didn't know we have. And once you tap into that, everything's gonna create a domino effect, and you're gonna keep conquering goals that you've ever dreamt of in your life. So I would just tell them to keep pushing, and you only live one life, so write a story worth remembering.
Wow, I love it. I love the advice. So thank you so much for sharing your story and your advice. So, to all our viewers, I hope that this episode inspires you to pursue your dream. So, whatever that you're experiencing right now, the disability won't hinder you as long as you know that you accept yourself for who you are, and don't be too hard on yourself. Just like Bianca, our Miss Philippines tourism here, conquered her, her initial shyness in joining pageants, and she didn't let disability hold her back from conquering the stage in the pageantry world. All right, thank you so much, Bianca, for joining us here today. And this is our Miss Philippines Tourism 2024, guys, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.
If you found this episode interesting or nakarelate kayo with our guest's story, please comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts. Thank you.